Hey, well, good evening. This is Wednesday night and it's map show night. And I'm really excited to be talking with you this evening, especially to Henny and Quinton, who are going to be joining me a little bit later on in the chat. Henny from Johannesburg, South Africa, and Quinton all the way from Cape Town. It is going to look like we are right here together in the same room. So I'm excited to be sharing with you a message that I believe is going to be the start of a great talk for this year. In fact, we're going to be spending some time talking about different aspects of beyond resolution. And I just think there's so many people on the planet that have been talking and dealing with resolution or New Year resolutions. And we tend to have these resolutions again and again and again. Every year we try something new, try a different approach, maybe try a different goal. Maybe we want to lose more weight. I want to talk today about beyond resolution. And the reason I want to talk about that is because I remember so clearly in my hometown of East London in South Africa that on the 2nd of January, when I drove to the office, I will never forget the experience. The esplanade, which happened to run along the beach front, I had the ocean on my left-hand side, and on my right-hand side was the Health and Racket Club. It was a gym. Today it is Virgin Active. I'm sure many people around the world are familiar with the Virgin brand. And of course, when I drove past there, I would see the gym on the 2nd of January was packed like sardines. I mean, you couldn't see any equipment. The people were in queues. They were so eager to engage in their New Year resolution. The road was filled with people on their new bicycles. The road runners caused congestion. They were there in their new running shoes, their new running shorts. I mean, it was like something incredible was going to take place. But then, of course, this time of the year arrived. I say this time because it started beginning around about now, but by the 21st of January, it was as if the rapture had taken place. The gym was empty, the road was clear, and the resolutions had disappeared. My question to you this evening is, have you gone beyond the resolution? Because beyond resolution lies action that leads to advancement. I mean, if you have a New Year resolution, it demands that you act upon it. You cannot sit back and hope for things to change if you're not prepared to act on your resolution and follow through, to be resolute. Earlier this year, one of our panelists talked about the fact that there is only one resolution to make, and that is to connect with your purpose. And man, once you've done that, there's no need for any future resolution, because when you have that kind of resolution, you are resolute. You have the resolve, you have the resilience, you have every single R that you can possibly think of, because you're going to be refired like nothing on earth. Action leads to not only advancement, as I use there because of my multifocal lenses, action leads to adventure. It's an exciting thing when you take action, when you take a step. And so I want to invite you in 2023 is to go beyond resolution and take that step of action. Too many people are still on holiday. Too many people are waiting for winter to pass. Action is a now thing. It's a today thing. And I want to invite you to join me as we take action together. Do you know something? We all have the ability to step out in boldness. When you have taken a resolution, beyond that resolution requires you to step in boldness, because boldness is something that is necessary to achieve and experience breakthrough. Boldness means you're going to believe in yourself. It means that you begin to recognize that this vision that you have seen, that you have resolved to follow through on, is something that you believe in, and believe in enough to step forward despite the things that may be facing you. It's like to go boldly where no one has gone before, Captain Kirk, as he says in Star Trek. That's what we're doing. When you go beyond resolution, you're going places that you've not been before. And that's exciting. We should all be experiencing the joy of going beyond the breakthrough that comes when you step beyond resolution. What's very interesting is character is more important than comfort when you step beyond the resolution. Character is more important than comfort. You know, so many people are striving to settle in the comfort zone, to settle for what they have. Man, there is nothing more depressing than accepting the status quo. There's nothing more, there's nothing that generates more hopelessness than just accepting where you're at and saying, this is my lot in life, I must just be happy with it. You know, like, accept the gift, shut up and be quiet is kind of the message that sometimes we hear. I want to encourage you to, when you step forward, to acknowledge that your character is going to be developed. It is going to grow. It's not going to be about comfort. It's not going to be a cakewalk. It's not going to be an easy ride. Stop looking for the quick, get rich quick scheme that so many people are trying today, because that's just going to cause you to move from one place to another and never become fixed on the resolution that you have taken. When you step beyond resolution, destiny calls for determination. I mean, have you seen somebody determined? I'm sure as we are listening to this recording this evening, or that you in the live stream, I am certain that you have seen somebody with absolute determination. I think of these runners, you know, when they're running the Comrades Marathon and they're coming to those last 100 meters. They're in the stadium. The crowd is cheering. I mean, the guy is maybe on his hands and knees crawling. But you can see in many of those people the absolute determination to cross that finish line. And I want to say to you today is, when you go beyond resolution, it's not going to demand that you look the way that those Comrades runners look, but it's going to require that you are quietly determined, and that nothing is going to stop you continuing and pressing in, so that that resolution you've taken becomes resolved. Determination. When you go beyond resolution, engagement comes from having an emotional connection to your resolution. I mean, this is key. You've got to be emotionally invested in what you're doing. You've got to see the bigger picture. I had somebody say to me earlier today that they were going to send me something, what they're busy with will be with me on Monday. I said, hey, it's not for me. There's a world out there that needs what you're doing. Don't do it for me, because if you're doing it for me, you've missed the emotional connection. You've got to have a passion for the outcome and recognize that what you're doing is going to have a global impact. It's going to transform the world around you. There has to be an emotional connection. Your heart has to begin to pump custard, as I like to say. It's got to pulsate with passion, man. This resolution that you're going to carry out that's going to start maybe for the first time in the year 2023. I want to tell you, when you move beyond resolution, there is no going back. There is no New Year resolution coming for you, because you have resolved once and for all to finish that which you start. I have become disgusted with the past me that was always an incredibly good starter. A person that would come up with great resolutions to impress other people and then fail to follow through on those resolutions. You see, when you go beyond resolution, faith and focus replace fear and forgetfulness. Faith means that I take action. It's a doing thing. When you have clarity of vision, when you have absolute focus, when you can see the invisible future and know with certainty that what you've seen is what you are called to do, you somehow find the ability to step in faith. And keeping your gaze on that vision, keeping your focus in the right place, enables you to take the steps of faith necessary to unlock the resources, the people, everything that's going to make that vision happen. Because the vision, the true vision, the thing that you're really born to do, is not about you. It's about meeting a need that everybody recognizes. And the world needs leaders right now, people who are able to lead themselves so that they qualify to lead others. There are too many people who have titles for leadership, positions of leadership, authority to lead, yet they are weak in character. We need to change that. Faith and focus replace fear and forgetfulness. I used the word forgetfulness because, man, you can talk to some people right now and you ask them, what is your New Year resolution? And they start scratching their head. They've forgotten. And it's day 11 of the new year. Can you imagine? Get up every morning. Focus your vision. Get excited. Step in faith. And see things happen. I mean, I couldn't be more excited about your journey. When you go beyond resolution, you're going to grow. You're going to grow. And you're going to grow below ground level. This is where the real growth happens. It's foundational growth. It's fundamental growth. It's the growth that is going to sustain you after the fire has burnt the grass. I mean, you have to be a farmer to understand what grassroots mean. I think there's too many politicians today talking about grassroots. And when they refer to grassroots, they're talking about something very different. I want to tell you that grassroots are so important. If a fire burns for too long in a particular place, it destroys the roots of the grass. But majority of fire goes through, it burns the dead grass out, but the roots, the strong root system, brings back that grass and it flourishes. It comes out green. We're busy translating Map for Life into isiZulu, one of the languages spoken here in the southern tip of Africa. And they have a saying that relates to the fire and grass. And I'm hoping that one of our videos on that is going to talk about it. If anybody knows of Johnny Clegg, he sings about this subject in one of his, or talks about it in one of his interviews. Grassroots for you and for me says, let's get our foundation right. And the things that come your way are going to enable you to grow. The people who grow are the people who move beyond resolution. If you fail to move beyond resolution again in 2023, like you did in 2022 and 2021 and 2020, and for goodness me, I don't know how many years you've blamed someone else. And of course, recently, people have got this wonderful thing called the pandemic. And you know, the pandemic today is simply the missing purpose in people's lives. That's the pandemic, not these other things that politicians have tried to throw our way. There is no disease that kept you and I in lockdown. It was political choice and decision. And we need to recognize that. Let's stop blaming the disease. Let's put it where it belongs. People that you and I put in positions of power who are not able to lead themselves personally. That is what led to the last 3 years. And I think more importantly, you and I sat back and accepted it. So growth is something that is coming our way. Here's a really exciting one that lies beyond resolution. And that is habits and hard work. If you are a mapper and you're watching our show, then you understand the power of habits, and that habits lead to habitats. Maybe your resolution is habit related. And maybe you have already discovered that you haven't been able to sustain the new habit. Relax. Allow yourself to fail. Allow yourself to recognize that you're trying too hard. Make it easier. Instead of going to the gym every day and trying to impress the other people that are there, just lie down next to your bed and do yourself 5 push-ups. And if you don't know how to do a push-up, it's very easy. Just pretend to try and get up. And when you're halfway up, just fall down again and just keep doing that 5 times. And that's your 5 push-ups. Keep it simple. Keep it easy. Make it impossible for yourself to find an excuse not to do it. But then recognize that if you're going to follow through on your resolution, you need to do a bit of work. A friend of mine used to say you need to get your A into G. I think you can follow through on that, what those words are. Get something into gear, do something, make a move, make a shift, make a shuffle. Don't sit there and complain or blame others. It's wonderful to see a habit turn into a habitat. Oh man, I've got so many things to share with you, and I'm really excited about this one. And that is that beyond the resolution, integrity and intensity increases. Integrity and intensity increases. Why do I say that? You discover after you have made a resolution, you discover how corrupt you are. And when I say you, I'm talking to me. When I made resolutions and I didn't follow through on them, that is corruption. Because integrity is when your thoughts, words, and actions are in alignment. My actions were never in alignment with my words that I spoke, and the words that I spoke weren't in line with the thoughts that I had, because I spoke words that other people, or rather to impress other people. When you go beyond resolution and you begin to implement that which you are passionate about, it forces you to get alignment between your thoughts, your words, and your action. So your integrity is going to increase. And the more you pursue your new resolution, the more passionate you become about it. So your intensity is going to increase. I mean, You need to set yourself up for increase. Get a bigger bank account. Get prepared. Get a bigger office. The increase is coming for the person who goes beyond the resolution. Henny and Quinton, we're going to get together in a moment and chat about this. But you know what's exciting beyond the resolution? No more jostle. You know, we're in life, and there seems to be this competition all the time. You in the workplace, you're trying to get ahead of the next person. In business, you're trying to make more profit. In church, you're trying to impress the pastor. I mean, it's this constant jostling for attention, trying to be somebody. I want to tell you that when you step beyond resolution, you begin to become the original that you were born to be. No longer are you striving to be a copy anymore. And this is a good thing, because when you do that, there's no more competition, no need to jostle. And then I think, finally, for this evening, and if those of you who've been to school have been listening and watching, you would have noticed that we have been going through the letter of the alphabet. So we got a long way to go. Okay, so I think when it comes to our next map show, we will continue with this discussion. But here's something interesting, and I put this word, it's nighttime. And night with the letter K. This is your time to shine. Last week, our last show, the show number 82, for those of you who have been tracking us, we talked about the concept of arise and shine, for your time has come. This is your time to be the knight in shining armor. This is your time for people to see light through you. This is the time where you need to ignite those around you because of the passion that burns within you. This is your time. This is the moment. And today we need to step beyond the resolution, because when you do, you know something, you're going to become more knowledgeable about the thing that you're passionately engaged in. And if you keep going and stepping into the future, going beyond further and further and further past this resolution, you are going to one day see the very thing that you saw. Other people are going to see the very thing that you saw when you made the resolution, because it's going to manifest itself. I hope that you are feeling that sense of excitement for the next 365 days that lie ahead. You might say, Glenn, we're on day 11. No, we're not. Today is a new day. Today is Happy New Year for you. It's Happy New Year for me. I have 365 days ahead. And I'm going to make those 365 opportunities that lie beyond the resolution, and to follow through. Henny, Quinton, we're going to have a chat after this little ad break, and I trust that those of you who have joined us on live streaming this evening are going to share your comments, post your questions, be part of the discussion, because we would love to do that. If you're watching the recording, please leave a comment on our screen, and we would love to respond and reply to that. Have a wonderful evening. See you in the chat room after this short break. Hey, well, this is it. We are back, and there on the screen are three people separated by thousands of kilometers. And not only that, Henny, Quinton, imagine with me for a moment that we are going to be in this place, and we are going to have people across continents on our screen. And so welcome to each of you. I'm going to start this evening by asking Henny in just 1 minute, and Quinton for yourself as well after Henny, just to tell the audience where you're from, maybe what you do and how you got engaged with Map for Life. Henny, we're gonna have to ask you to switch that switch there on your side. There we go. We're ready.
My switch is off, so I've only got one resolution, and that's not to mute myself again. No, on a more serious note, my name is Henny. I am from Roodepoort in the West Rand in Gauteng, South Africa. I'm a business analyst by profession right now, but like I said to Glen, that's just a placeholder. Map for Life has helped me focus, understand my passion, understand where I need to go. So I'm working on a plan where I can dedicate my whole life to make people's lives significant. That's where I started. I'm sure we'll talk around a little bit further about the resolutions and everything, but that's it from my side for now.
Great, Henny. Quinton?
Yeah, so I'm an actionite from Cape Town. I was first introduced to Map for Life way back in 1998 at a presentation. And so I haven't sustained my efforts along the Map for Life journey, but I must say it has been just a wonderful awakening to be reconnected with Map for Life. And to have a pathway to pursue the purpose. And the purpose has become all the more real. The pictures are more vivid. The vision is very, very vivid. And so I'm really looking forward to this journey. And it's very nice meeting you, Henny. It's the first time I've actually come across it. So happy 2023, the year for me.
I love it. I love it. You know something, Quinton, you touched on something important, and I think that the resolution that everybody should have, Henny, is to be plugged in to a map club and to be part of a map cafe, which is a small group of people who have discussions like we're having this evening, really, and talk about things like our theme this year, which is all about personal leadership. Maybe before we start talking about the resolution talk that we've just listened to, let's just maybe share a thought about the Map Cafe. Henny, you've been part of a Map Cafe for a while, and Quinton, you have as well. What would you say is the highlight for you? What is it about the Map Cafe that you really appreciate?
I want to compare it to maybe Christians would know this, but if you go to church on a Sunday, you sort of get inspired by the people around you that's got the same beliefs and visions that you've got, to say that you know where you're going someday when your work on planet Earth is done. I think the Map Cafe for me does exactly the same thing. You got your visions, you've got your purpose, you're motivated. It feels like you go to a Map Cafe, it's just another fuel on the fire that's now burning very hot again. You just get inspired to get excited, to just go on. You just want to continue. And you start getting to a point where we've spoken about habits. It's not a habit to be in the Map Cafe every week. It's a necessity. You can't miss it. Life will go past if you miss a week. And I mean, that's the point where I'm right now. I have to be there every Thursday morning to meet with the guys, to see how they're doing, to excite myself, to excite them all, so that we can continue with this big mission wheel.
That's making me excited. Quinton, you've also been part of a Map Cafe since the around about the same time as Henny, maybe a little bit, maybe a week or two earlier than Henny. What has been your experience?
So, in a nutshell, the Map Cafe is my feel-good shot on a Wednesday morning. But more than that, it keeps one's feet to the fire, you know. And that's the fire that you've built for yourself, the fire that you've created. And it's extremely gratifying to know that there are others who almost take responsibility for your movement, for your action, for your success. These the support structure. I was thinking about this word resolution, and I thought about, how many times in the past I've let myself down, in a sense, by not following through on resolutions. And it's like I was trying to look for a metaphor for it, and I thought about abseiling. So it's like abseiling without the harness, and you're just going to be dangling, at no direction, and very soon you'll get so burned that you'll just let go. And so that is what Map Cafe has been for me, a wonderful experience to just connect and to know there are others, on the journey with you on the path.
Quinton, you've got to know this. The Map Cafe incubator, which was started in October 2022, that new concept was a direct result of a map show where somebody left a comment in on our YouTube channel or on Facebook. I'm not too sure which one it was, asking when is a Map Cafe going to start in Cape Town. Do you remember who that was?
Oh yeah, indeed. I'm so glad.
You committed. You can never leave the Map Cafe, because the Map Cafe on a Wednesday morning, the one that you attend, was started as a direct result of your question. I want to just tell the people that are part of this, that are listening to this session, that the Map Club has a number of different events. The small intimate one, which is what we're talking about now, is the Map Cafe. And that takes place on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So, Henny said he's there on Thursday morning, and we heard Quinton talk about Wednesday. It also happens on Tuesday, 6 a.m. if you're in South Africa. The same time is 6 p.m. in the East. So if you can look at 4 a.m. GMT time, 4 a.m. is when we start. So it doesn't matter what part of the world you're in, you can join us. And in this year, we're going to be having at least 6 hours in a day. In fact, 9 hours in a day dedicated to Map Cafe. So I don't know if you're going to be able to come up with an excuse to miss one, because there's going to be 9 hours on Tuesday, 9 hours on Wednesday, 9 hours on Thursday morning, midday, and evening. So you better book yourself a slot and join with us. We'd love to hear your insights. Okay, guys, let's talk about this concept. And Henny, I know that you're passionate about this idea of resolution. So maybe while you were listening this evening, you had something may have been stimulated. Maybe you had a thought, an insight. Maybe something stood out for you. We're listening.
I think for the last 10 years, I must have become old, because New Year's was never for me something that was big. I don't have to stay up awake until 12 o'clock so that I can go into the new year. And I always just had one New Year's resolution, and that was not to have any resolutions, because I'm not going to stick to them. This year for me was different. I didn't stay awake. I did actually stay awake, come to think of it, but it's not for a big thing for me, because I don't need a New Year's resolution. That's something that happens every day. And I think my New Year started somewhere in December. I think I really worked through the 20-day program. I really got my focus down. And if I look at the word resolution, it actually means a resolution. So I've got a solution that I need to just cover every day. I've started some habits in the morning. I've joined the 5 a.m. club. In that spot, I've got a resolution every day where I just look at what I've put together, what I need to focus on, and what I'm going to follow through for the next couple of years as well. So that's what it means for me, is to say habits, I think, is more valid than a resolution to try and put something together. Habits are more valuable to me as a person. But like I said in those sessions, I resolution what I'm looking at every day.
I love that idea. That's a brand new concept that I've not heard before. So thank you so much for sharing that. Quentin, before you start sharing your thoughts, I just want to welcome Anton. You know, Anton Skiepers is a member with Map for Life. He's a true mapper. I mean, Anton, great to have you part of the session. And Anton has been part of Map for Life since the very beginning. And maybe one day soon, Anton, you're going to join us on the show, and because we're going to have story time. One of the new shows that's going to be taking place in Map for Life this year is Story Time, and Anton has an incredibly powerful story where he's going to tell us about what he started as a result of using Map for Life. And I'm sure any person who has teenagers that are thinking about going into medicine, you need to listen to that show. And we'll tell you in advance about it, because Anton is doing something incredible in that domain, not just in South Africa, but from Australia to America to Europe. He's traveling and influencing and touching lives in a powerful way. So Anton, great to have you joining us this evening. Quentin, what was your aha moment this evening, or your insight?
Yeah. I'd just like to comment on what Henny just said now. Of, you know, just hearing the word in that way, resolution, makes me think of, you know, what a word that used to fly by me called recreation, but it's actually a recreation of yourself. You're actually going and fortifying, or you're changing, or you're transforming, and so that's very powerful to me right now. During your talk, however, so this is vast, this whole resolution and all of the diamonds you've given us and the golden nuggets. But one thing stands out for me, comes from is around this concept of knighthood, being a knight, firstly to yourself, and then being a knight to others. So I recently watched the movie First Knight, and something that the king says to Lancelot. So Lancelot's this philanderer and living all over the show, and not really bound or committed to anything, and that's the way he chooses to live. But one thing the king tells him: so if you're going to live this way, if you have nothing to lose, then what joy will you have from life? You know, what will fill your life with joy? And so that, you know, it speaks to this entire concept of resolution. Recreating, and also going, and in your recreation process, you're striving towards a purpose that is eventually also going to transform you. Along the journey, I don't know whether there's a journey's end. I don't like to think of the journey's end. I like to think of this process that just carries on, and you're paying it forward all the time. And when it's your time to go, you leave behind a map for others. So you, in actual fact, you're paying it forward, you're teaching them how to pay it forward. And that is just how the whole concept looks for me. The purpose is actually the one that helps you to resolution all the time. Because the purpose also transforms, and you kind of fine tune it as you move along. So yeah, it's this whole concept of knighthood that has stood out for me quite significantly.
I think the I was going to say the video stores, but I haven't seen one of those for a very long time. but with the TV channels where they have TV on demand, I mean, they better get their things set up, because Sir Lancelot and what is the name of the movie again? Just remind us.
First Knight.
First Knight is going to be the number of viewers on First Knight is going to shoot through the roof over the next years as people watch. Henny, before I ask you about your experience with the 20-day program, because both of you have recently done, in fact, Quentin, I know you are in the last few stages of the 20-day program. Henny, you've completed it. So I'm going to ask you a little bit later on just to share maybe a thought about your experience with the 20-day program. But if we take a look at this idea of recreation, that Quentin was talking about, and your idea of resolution. How do you see Map for Life fitting in with those? And you can each speak to your own word that you introduced there. How do you see the Map for Life process supporting that idea?
I think adding to that, the theme of the year being leadership and specifically being self-leadership for me, I think is where it starts. If I cannot manage myself, I cannot manage people, and I cannot manage my dreams, etc. So I think for me, that's where it really starts. I need to take a step back. And for me, in Map for Life, establish your position, which is step one, is really that very important step. And I mean, that falls in line with my habits, because step one is about finding your balance in life. It's about doing the right thing, doing more of the right things and less of the wrong things, etc., etc. And I think that's where the resolution for me comes into place, is to say, I've found myself, I know who I am, I know what I'm capable of. I'm at the point where I'm not interested in what people think of me. I don't have to compete with anybody. I've got a mission in life that I need to fulfill. Action. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes,
It's like
we can, and you're
I'll
busy
continue
going
talking.
away.
So that's where it falls in.
Just for those
Okay, cool.
the audience that
All
are
looks good on the
listening
side,
and
but really,
wondering why we are over talking each other, why Henny is disappearing now and then. In South Africa, we have this wonderful opportunity to become to get off the grid. And we've been given the invitation to remove ourselves from the grid at least 3 times a day. And so our resolution this year, without a doubt, for everyone is to get off the grid. And I think that's quite popular in America, and they don't even have the need to in America. So we have compelling reason to move off the grid. Henny, we'll come back to you in a moment. I see it looks like your feed is now stabilized. So yes. Do you just want to maybe just finish the last sentence there that you were busy with that sort of broke away?
I was just trying to recap then. Yeah, so for me, I think if I can summarize, step one is where I resolution everything that I do. I find myself, I find my strengths, I focus on my mission, and I ignore what the people around me think or say about it. But in saying that, I focus on doing what I'm supposed to do, but what I'm supposed to do or my purpose is not around me. That's around the people out there. My wife sort of semi-forces me, let me not use that word too hard, to watch these series. Encourages me to watch these series with her. And we started watching something called New Amsterdam while we were on movies. And what is very interesting there is this main medical director comes in with the slogan, how can I help you? So whenever anybody comes to him with a solution or anything is around, he's always saying, so how can I help you? And I really like that. The story is really about him helping people and forgetting about making money in this hospital. He's really focused on making a difference in people's lives. And for me, that's the definition of significance. And that's what I need to chase. And I think that becomes a lot clearer for me in step one, establish your position. For me, that's the key one. I need to know where I'm starting if I want to be successful.
Thank you so much. You know, the one thing that I really enjoy in using the tool is that when I open it, I've got my whole week in front of me. It's always there. And I've got my list of actions, my habits that I'm working on that I tick off. And I was just today, you know, you're working on a new habit. And just today, every Wednesday, I have a physical map cafe where I meet with people and we talk face to face. Last week, I was telling them about my new habit for this year and how great it was. And today, on my way to that very session, I got a WhatsApp message to say that I had not done my habit for today. So So as anybody who's part of Map for Life knows, that when you skip a day, you start again from zero. And well, I didn't quite skip. I did do it, but I did it at a later time. So for me, in the morning, Thursday is going to be day one again, and I'm determined that I'm going to get those 21 days in a row so that the habit is established. Quentin, you're busy doing the 20-day program right now. What is your experience? Maybe what is your highlight?
Okay, so look, the entire process really speaks to the notion of recreating. So what I found is I'm peeling away at layers and layers of things all the time, until, and I think I'm about there now, for now, is a level of originality, of authenticity, of, I almost want to call it corehood. So you're really getting down to the core of what it is that you're really about, and that for me has been a long journey, and finally getting there and touching, the touch point is so exhilarating actually that you just can't stop. You just continue, and each day becomes a refinement, and so it's a recreation, as it were, every day. Sometimes multiple times within a day. And that's really exciting because, as you say, every day is New Year. Actually, every moment is New Year when you live consciously, when you're aware of what you're doing and you're on purpose, then every moment becomes a new year. I think it's the people in Uganda that actually greet each other at any time of the day as good morning, because they believe that every minute is the start of a new day. And so the process in Map for Life really speaks to that for me, and it's awesome.
I really love those concepts, and this year I want it to be a year for me, for you, for everybody that's listening to this show, a year where we live. And there's nothing that makes you feel more alive than when you're connected with your purpose passionately. And purpose and passion are like Siamese twins. I mean, if you get up in the morning, like a friend of mine, John Stanko in Pennsylvania, says, when you get up in the morning on a Sunday and you really don't feel like going to church, and you're the pastor, you're not in your purpose. And I think there's a lot of people that are like that. Monday mornings is not the day. They've just finished 2, 3, 4 weeks maybe of recreation, where they've rejuvenated, they've re-energized themselves, only to go back into that same trap where they suddenly find that they're back in the routines of life. And I don't want life to be routine in that sense. Let's make it exciting. Guys, before I end the broadcast this evening, I just want to say it's been great to have different people join us this evening. And I see even Quentin, you did join us at one stage. So nice to see you there. Please leave your comments, share your thoughts, your insights as well. We'd love to hear them. I want to remind everybody that if you want to connect with Map for Life in a really deep way, get yourself a copy of the Map for Life blueprint, because in there are links to these things. Every single day in your map is a link to something new about Map for Life. It has over 400 links to resources. I mean, it's an incredible tool. We talk about digital integration. So you have a piece of paper that's integrated with a world of excitement, enthusiastic engagement that you can be part of. And I'd love to invite you to join our MAP club, become part of a small group in your area. Not only become a small part of a small group, but why not start one? We have one that's going to be starting up in Islamabad, Pakistan, in the very short term, in Zimbabwe, in Zambia, in Australia, in the United Kingdom. I mean, wherever you are, if your heart is beating, if you're enthusiastic about the future, get yourself engaged with the MAP Club. I just love engaging with people, and I know that Henny and Quinton enjoy that as well, and I'm sure they're going to be leading theirs soon. By the way, if you speak Afrikaans, then you will know that these two gentlemen probably speak that language better than I do. And so, Quinton, do you speak Afrikaans at all?
Ja, ek was op 'n tyd 'n Afrikaans onderwyser.
I'll say.
So
Okay, so we have an Afrikaans teacher. No excuse for you. We're looking for a video on because Henny sitting right next to you there has just translated everything on leadership for this year 2023 into the language of Afrikaans, and this is exciting for me. And we need anyone who's listening, Anton, who was there earlier this evening. We're looking for people like you who can speak Afrikaans powerfully to put together a short video on the gems, and let's make MAP available. Let's make it my actieplan. What do you say, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Absolute. There's my Afrikaans, all gone. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. A last word from each of you, and then we're going to end the show. Henny?
I think rather than have a resolution, have a habit. Habits are a lot more practical, a lot more value adding. And one of the key things that I've learned from the program is if it's not on paper, it's vapor. If you go and write things down, things starts to happen. And I can give you a practical example. I wrote down some of my habits and I had to filter through and pick the top 10 that I needed to work with. But some of the ones that I wrote down that's not on the radar for me right now is in fact actually happening purely because I wrote it down. So go and write down everything that you want and your subconscious mind will consume it and it will happen.
Powerful. I think Quinton was talking a bit about that this morning in our morning cafe. Quinton, what a last thought from your side?
So I just have this one thing to say about what stood out for me tonight is that your character, the building of your character is much more important and I want to say more significant than your comfort. And so that really inspires one to break through the initial apathy that you feel. Because it's a change, it's different. When you haven't been doing it for a while, can become a grind. You want to build character and you want to build a character with intent, that automatically becomes a recreation of yourself. So for me, character much more important than comfort.
Guys, I think we've started a journey, a good journey together. Next week, Wednesday, same time, same place, we're going to continue our discussion on beyond the resolution. What happens beyond the resolution? And of course, there are many things that we can talk about. I'm going to close this evening by playing a short video clip from one of our mappers who's just arrived in South Africa, all the way from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. He's going to be part of Map for Life over here for a season before he goes back there. It's exciting to have him with us. And here he is just sharing a short testimony. And I want to thank everybody who's been part of this evening. If you've been watching the recording, please join one of our sessions in the future. We'd love to have you join our live audience. Henny, Quinton, thank you so much. Let's journey into the future beyond the resolution.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks, Henny. Thanks, Glen.
Hi, my name is Iram Kalunji, and I'm from the DRC. I basically encountered Map for Life about 3-4 years ago here in Kinshasa during a 3-day workshop where we met with Glen, his team, and a bunch of other participants. And those 3 days were very life-changing for me in many ways because the material that I got to learn during that time has allowed me not only to start adopting some of these concepts in my everyday life, but because I also train and coach entrepreneurs, I've also been able to apply the same Map for Life principles and methodologies in how they go about planning as well as executing their business ideas and concepts and going to market with them. So that's basically my experience with Map for Life.